So I made six figures and lost it the same year. Now, this isn't a video that's going to be highly edited, highly scripted. It's literally just me off the dome, straight after the gym, just literally saying exactly what's happening in my life and also documenting my journey in front of my audience whilst I'm building my personal brand. So remember, guys, I started this entire channel simply because it was a challenge between me and an artist I was working with at the time. But they weren't posting consistently. I said, you know what? I will show you, bearing in mind I don't like social media, I don't like posting, I don't like speaking in front of a camera. But I said, look, I will show you what will happen if you're consistent in terms of posting. And I posted every single day. I ended up getting like 100K views on TikTok. I got another 60K on TikTok. I went over to YouTube, the platform that you guys are seeing me right now, and obviously the channel's building. I've had like a 5K, I think 6K video, a 3K video, a couple 1Ks, and obviously we're still building, you know what I mean? So in saying that, I thought I'd literally just be honest, right, with my audience, because there's no point you coming to the platform and coming to my channel in particular if you don't know who you're dealing with and don't resonate with me either. Do you know what I mean? So, like I said, I made six figures and lost it the same year. So, with me being a music producer, I got and fell in love with music from church, right? Whenever you listen to a lot of people, they usually say, okay, cool, like they got their love for music in church because the first place they were exposed to musical instruments and this and that. And it was the exact same thing for me, right? I was always in the choir. Eventually learned how to play keyboard because whenever my dad would go around to like preach and things like that, he would need someone to assist him when it came to making sure that there's music in the house of the Lord, right? So I learned the keyboard the same year I learned how to make beats from secondary school. For my American audience, I believe that's like middle school. I learned how to make beats because in music, they taught us how to create beats in Cubase. Then we moved over to Logic, I believe, the year after. And that same year, I said, look, F education, F being an academic, because they all wanted me to go to like Oxford and Cambridge and stuff like that, because they thought I was a smart kid, you could say, or what they said I was, and I kind of am, do you know what I mean? But I said, F that, now I'm doing music, do you know what I mean? So it became a case of me doing music and saying to everyone boldly that, yo, this is what I want to do. I don't care. Like, I'm doing music. Do you know what I'm saying? And I eventually started making beats. The whole reason why I even learned how to become an engineer, this is a whole different side story, right? So I learned how to engineer simply because when I was making beats, of course, you're posting on Snapchat, you're posting on Instagram, and then people will start inquiring on your services, right? So I remember there was an artist that must have popped up to my story and was like, yo, I want to purchase a beat. And I think I was selling it for like £200 from my American. That's like $250 or so. So I was selling it for £200. He said, okay, no worries. I'll get back to you by tomorrow. The guy did not get back to me till this day. Do you know what I mean? So I got pissed off. I didn't know that this is the game that you're going to face. Like, you're trying to sell your services and then some people aren't going to follow through and stuff like that. I was like 14, 15 then. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was still immature. So I said to myself, you know what, F him. Same way I did with social media, it's the same way I did with obviously this. I was like, you know what, F this guy, man. I'm gonna just follow through and become my own artist. Do you get it? So in me doing that, I already had a mic because I was recording people here and there and stuff like that. So I try to record myself over that exact same beat. Do you get it? And that song is actually out. I need to take it out. I need to take it off all these streaming platforms. I can't lie. But I recorded over that beat and made a song. And I posted on my Snap, and all my boys from secondary school were just on the vibe, were like, "Yo, this is hard." And I even had some girl them as well. They were popping up like, "Yo, this is hard." Do you know what I mean? It was like Afro swing. It was popping back then. Do you get what I'm saying? So that happened. But one thing was that with me, anything I do, I always commit like 150% to it. So I was just thinking to myself, like, why am I recording them and I'm not sounding like Drake and I'm not sounding like, I don't know, Rema or the Burner Boys and Kids, whoever that sounds sick, right? Like, bro, I'm not sounding good. Like, why? Do you know what I mean? It was literally frustrating me. Like, it was taking me away from recording and perfecting my songwriting skills and perfecting my lyrics, etc. Then I started realizing, okay, so you need to actually put plugins. So you need to put effects in your vocals. You need to make it do this and do that, etc. So I started binge watching YouTube videos. I'll binge watch production tutorials and I'll binge watch engineering tutorials. more so engineering tutorials, right? And eventually, I taught myself how to record myself, and it sounded decent. So that skill set it carried me on. So after secondary school, we eventually went to I think it was around the time of obviously C19, right? So instead of me going to uni, um, I'm just skipping over like music college because music college, the only thing I learned there was music marketing. Everything else I already kind of knew from again YouTube University, right? So we got over to C19 and everyone was at home. It was a perfect opportunity for me to basically say to the parents, like, look, I'm not going uni. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing music, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And I'd already shown them that, okay, you can actually monetize through music because I would gig with a keyboard, you know, like every Friday to Saturday or even a Sunday. I'll use my keyboard skills, go to African parties, gig, go to churches, gig, and obviously earn a bit of cash that way. And there's other ventures I was into as well, but that's probably another story time. Now, I remember I had made a connection with a videographer who actually met through church, right? And he was recording for one or two big people within the UK. So he was like, yo, I'm gonna connect you and also your boys who we were at band at the time. All of them, all of my boys that were a band, they've all gone on to now like they're Burner Boys main band now. They're Ashake's main band or part of the band. They've played for like one of my boys have played for the King of England, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like so we've done our thing. And even me, like I've had experiences of playing with in front of like the Oni of Ife, Obasanjo, if you're Nigerian, you know him paying for legends, bro. Do you know what I mean? So thank God, like he's done this thing. You know what I mean? So cool. I'd met the videographer, and he was like, "We can." This is before the fame and before the playing for the Burners and this and that. Yeah, when we're still young, I think we're like 14, 15. No wait, must have been like 16 at the time, 16, 17, something along those lines, right? So before C19, we had like a session, a musical session with him, and he's like, "Yo, we can um basically connect you with people in the music industry and connect the dots, blah blah blah." But it was only me that basically took him serious when he said that. So we maintained a relationship. He eventually introduced me to his boy, and that boy happened to be DTG's manager and other people's managers as well. Shout out to A3. Um, so yeah, they had like you could say it's a studio. Respectfully, it was kind of like a youth club. I'm not this and this is what bro said in it. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of like a youth club because it was a studio, but people weren't taking it serious. Like they weren't like serious bookings. Out of that studio, they made like Darko Gangster. They around that time, I believe DTG and Simba had Rover as well. So those are two platinum songs. So when I came, it was around the time that obviously I believe T-Shirt as well. He's a DJ on Capital Extra. Shout out to T-Shirt. I was around the time where us men were like, bro, like you can actually make this a serious thing. Like we can actually turn this into like a record label kind of infrastructure. So that was like the vision. But I remember the first time I met them, it was only months after that. Obviously, I got the call to basically come back to the studio, and it was at this time it was a producer camp. Cool. So with this producer camp, they needed someone to basically because everyone was a co-producer. So I met bare producers, people like Nathan, people like Rems, people like Ishmate, like all my like T1, like all my days, like some co-producers, Drip Set, you know what I mean? So DC, like there's so many names. If I haven't mentioned your name, apologies, my name. But met a lot of them. Cool. They needed someone to record because the next week was gonna be an artist week. Now, bearing in mind, I was the only person that could record because guess who I was recording before? Self. Do you get it? But I didn't tell them that though. I was like, hey, I can record a bit. I might be good. I might not be. Whatever. Do you know what I mean? So when I was playing them demos and stuff like that, they were like, oh damn, like you can actually record. Cool. Like no worries. So the next week was an artist boot camp, and then we just started working with better artists. And it was fun, man. I met a lot of people. I even met a lady that I developed into a point where we were this close to like just taking over the entire world. That's a whole different story as well. Um, but yeah, man, that's where I really honed my skill of becoming not only a producer and engineer, but I would also say like an executive producer where I can spot talent and I can basically just hone in on that and build and develop it and develop it and develop it. But as you know, within the music game, anyone that's watching, some things don't come out. You know what I mean? So I've had placements and opportunities with some of the biggest artists in the world, but unfortunately, things haven't come out. Do you know what I mean? I've talked about that earlier on the channel. Like I worked with people like Drake before. Do you get what I'm saying? But songs didn't come out, so it's like, what's the point of saying it? Do you know what I mean? But one of my boys was like, bro, if you don't tell this story, then people won't realize how cold you are. Like they won't realize what you're on. They won't realize that you're actually that guy. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of getting the habit of being comfortable, just being transparent. You get what I'm saying? Cool. So when it came to all of that, we then eventually turned the youth club, you could say, into basically a record label. So we had a lot of great moments and stuff like that. And I learned not only how to obviously do the music side, but because I was kind of I wasn't the owner, but I was part of the main people driving that thing forward. I started to understand the business acumen of things. Cause I was always interested in business, anyways. So I understood the importance and power of marketing. I understood the importance of sales, and I understood the importance of getting customers and getting leads into your business, like getting clients and retaining them and all this type of stuff. So it piqued an interest, and I had to study. Like, I'm a big studier. You know what I mean? I'll be on YouTube for like 8 hours a day, learning something new, kind of vibe. So that's me in it. So that happened. Unfortunately, we parted ways, I think like 2 to 3 years in, because everyone's vision was kind of like in different places. Then the month after, I just basically took the entire formula and was like, look, if I could do it once, I can do it again. So I just built my own studio, and I basically made more than I was making in the previous situation. Obviously, 100% for myself. You know what I'm saying? So I learned how to build that. Flew out to LA with my boy, and then yeah, man, like music became a real thing for me. Cool. So fast forward into, I believe, the year or a year or two after, I then get an opportunity to expand studios to another bit. Cause I was one of the only engineers at the time, and also at my age, that was doing it full time. Like everyone in the UK that's within the scene can say, like, bro, like Okiki has been doing this. Do you know what I mean? Like I might not have the biggest personal brand, but I've been doing this music thing. You know what I mean? So I was able to do that, done my thing. And I had the opportunity to expand to South London with another producer. Shout out to him. But yeah, man, it was an amazing period of time, man. Amazing period of time. But yeah, like when fast forward, I'm just kind of like trying to. I think I need to break these down into different segments and different story times, innit? But I want to get you guys to the main bit, which I'm believing you're here for. Um, so yeah, fast forward to the point where the artist, like I said, that had basically picked up. So I had two artists I was working with. I was working with a lady artist and also a male artist who is Figzo. So Figzo's doing his thing right now. He literally just released his second solo tape, and I believe he's gonna take over the world. Like I'm telling you guys from now. Do you know what I mean? Like that's my boy. You feel me? So fast forward. When we had that own studio, um, the lady artist basically said to me, "Okay, cool. Like, I'm entrusting you with my career. I want to work with you specifically because you believed in me from the get go. Help me basically get to the next level." And I said, "Okay, no worries. If you're doing this, we're gonna do it properly." You know what I mean? And literally by the next day of me basically saying, "Yo, I'll take control of the career and basically drive it forward. I won't be a manager, but I will like be the coach or the whatever, the executive producer." The day after, I then lined up an opportunity for us to basically go to Canada, work on the project, and potentially get it signed over to either a label in Canada or whatever. Do you know what I mean? If it was packaged correctly and we done the rollout correctly, etc. And that was an amazing experience, man. Amazing experience. You feel me? So these are just the dots I've been connecting, etc. But when I came back from that Canada trip, yeah, this is the moment that things kind of got rocky. So the studio that we had in South, the owners were trying to increase rent because they saw how much would like we turned that studio from just a regular into a proper, like, people were in and out. Like some people that are popping the UK scene right now, they were all in that place. You know what I'm saying? Like we trapped it out. You feel me? So they basically like doubled the rent. Do you know what I'm saying? They were just like, okay, we're just gonna double your rent and then blah blah blah. And then us man were just like, nah, F that. Do you know what I mean? Because the studio space wasn't even great. Like our room was quite small, but it was a perfect location, innit? Because anyone can get in and out of that location. So cool. we basically say, you know what, look, we're gonna expand to the next bit. Next thing you know, I give P's over to the studio to the person I was partnered with. Um, then when I get back from Canada, bearing in mind it's my full-time income, right? There's no studio. Like no studio and no communication with my man. Like at all. For like at least I think it was like 3, 4 months. So I had to move back into my old studio. I had to start again. All my P's were either spent in Canada, and then also the other P's that I had were invested into the studio because we invested a lot into that studio. We had speakers and gear and so there was a couple bags in there. Um, and yeah, there was no studio. It's like I'm not saying that bro ran off with P's or whatever, but there was just radio silence. You get what I'm saying? So I was on the vibe like, bro, what the fuck? Like, man, that's to start again. Craziness. So I had a call with my boy that was doing well in property, funny enough. And earlier in the year, I had actually got mentored by him because apart like I'm pretty sure you guys can start to see how things basically unravel and how things is tying to each other, right? As much as I'm a music kid, I love business. Like I really love business, innit? So when from while I was in music and being a music producer, I learned how to obviously get into property, how to be a deal sourcer, how to purchase cribs and stuff like that from my boy, right? He wasn't my boy at the time, but obviously we like that's my brother now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, bro. Um, and one thing about him is that he really pours into people and stuff like that. So I remember when I learned about property, around the same time, I think a week after, I learned from two people, right? So a week after, I basically closed a deal, and then that was my first ever month of me hitting like 10 bags because I'd done a lot in property, and then obviously in the studio, I did like my similar amount, right? So I was like, okay. I was like, well, this is possible. Okay, no worries. But I kind of left it behind because I was like, I love property, but I love music 1,000 times more. Do you get what I'm saying? So when I had a call with my boy that again coached me through property and stuff like that, he was on the vibe of like, bro, you're doing too many things and you need to focus on one thing that is gonna push the needle um basically forward. You know what I mean? So you have one thing that one lever that you pull, one leverage that you pull that's basically gonna lead to an amazing amount of results on the other part, right? That's basically the concept it was telling me. And I just thought to myself, like, look, property got me my first 10 bags. What happens if I just double down on it? So I left music. For those that know me, like, everyone saw me literally leaving music. The only artist I was working with at that point was Figs and obviously the lady artist, but more so Figs because Figs was actively recording and doing this and that. So, yeah, man, like, that guy's work ethic is crazy. Like I can actually say he kept me on my toes. He's part of the reason why I still know how to. When I got back into music, I could engineer as fast as I did before. Do you know what I mean? Because with him, every single like okay, next song, like bro, that guy's too cold. Do you know what I mean? But cool. So I got into property, and I remember before I got into property, yeah, man was broke as hell, bro. Broke as hell. Broke as hell. I lost my studio, no way of making income, was in debt, all sorts, bro. It was peak. It was peak, you know what I mean? But I was like, you know what? Let's just try, man. Let's try. So the first month in property, I do decent, you know what I mean? The second month, I then actually hit like around like 10 bags, you know what I mean? Then the next month, I hit below that and I said, you know what, F it. From March onwards, like bro, like man needs to mash work, you know what I mean? So was working, and then from there, paper started rolling in. Do you know what I mean? Because the product, obviously, everyone wants to get into property. The product that we had was, in my head, it was a no-brainer. I won't go into it, but it was a no-brainer. And obviously, I had done my fact checks. A lot of people, like, I had gone to lawyers and stuff like that to be like, yo, is this all proper kind of vibe? And bare people did, which is crazy. But anyways, um, so I'd done my fact checks. I made sure that like I was pattern, like man's actually in a pattern situation. Do you know what I mean? So I was just pushing it because I had 100% faith that this was the play. Do you know what I'm saying? So obviously making money, making money, making money. Then I remember I was on the phone with my ex. I remember, because obviously we hadn't seen each other for like a couple of years, kind of vibe. But obviously, it was still cool, man. Do you know what I mean? Well, back then it was still cool. So was speaking, and I was like, "Yo, like, how you doing? How's things on your side? Blah blah blah." And obviously, she was like, "Oh, how you doing? I see you killing it," and da da da. Da. And then naturally, so I remember speaking, and then she was like, "Yeah, I see you killing in property." Da, da, da. Then obviously, I went into my bank and I started counting like obviously, and I was like, "Oh damn, that man's crossed six figures." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like man's done my thing. Do you know what I mean? Like that, I was because I was working so hard, so hard. Like those, like no one saw me that yet. Do you know what I mean? My head was down, bro. I was working, cuz. You know what I mean? So I'd crossed that point, and then yeah, from there I was like, you know what? Let me just double down. So I kept on working, kept on working, kept on working. But it got to a point where things were a bit rocky. Um, and the feeling of excitement, etc., started to become a feeling of like, damn, like, what am I doing here? Like, is this even meant for me? Da, da, da. But I'll kind of convince myself that yo, like, you made peace, so just keep on going, da da da, etc. But bro, I would be going into work every single day depressed, bro. Do you know what I mean? That's the reason why I understand when they say, okay, you can make money, but money doesn't buy happiness. It solves money problems. You get it? So was in the press, bro, depressed as hell, and I started noticing like one or two red flags, but they weren't significant enough for me to be like, nah, let me jump ship from obviously the situation. Do you know what I mean? So cool. Fast forward up until my birthday. I'm pretty sure like I've kind of mentioned this before, but obviously for those that are new, I just want to mention it again. So fast forward to my birthday, it was the first time in the year that I'd actually taken time out, first or second time, but first time that I had taken time out for myself, innit? I'd been working, my head was, bro, I was grinding, bro. Like, ask anyone around, they were just like, bro, we couldn't, because naturally people know I'm a grinder anyways, but it's like, bro, I was in it. I was on the phones, back to back meeting with clients, just doing my thing, do you know what I mean? So it was my birthday, and then from then, I remember I flew out to Cyprus. I had like I think 10 days or something like that off, and in that time I was actually like, "Yo, like this is actually a good life." You know what I mean? Had my birthday, called, and I get back 3 days after. My mum now gives me a call, and she's like, son, so your granddad has just passed." Then this was like the first ever passing that I'd witnessed that was close to me. Obviously, I grew up in N, so you you know what I mean, things happened, you get what I'm saying? But in terms of like my own family and that close, I was like, bro, that I didn't even know how to feel, you know what I mean? I didn't know how to feel. So I kind of just carried on, carried on. I was like, oh damn, okay, cool. And I just carried on, carried on, carried on working hard and da. I was like, I remember my boy was there. It was like, bro, you good? Like, you just lost your granddad. Do you know what I mean? And I remember it was the day after that man was in the shower and I just started bawling, bro. Like, I don't bear in mind, I don't cry, do you know what I mean? Man, I don't do that, do you know what I mean? But bro, I was bawling I was like, what? Like, man hasn't seen granddad in years, bro. And the year that I probably could have actually gone and visited him, because obviously I got peas now and like, man doesn't even do that. Ah, bro. That thing, oh, no. It affected me still. It affected me. So that happened, and I'm still mourning. I'm still understanding the feeling of what it is to mourn and this and that, because again, it's new in it. Then I think it was like 3 days after that, I then get a call from one of the guys in the company I was working for. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, we need to meet." And I was like, "Bro, like my granddad just passed." He's like, "My condolences, but bro, like we need to meet." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." Boom. So I met him. Then he was basically on the vibe of like, "Okay, look, basically there's a situation. The company's basically not gonna carry on, basically, and etc." It was long, bro. It was long. But long story short, my belief is that basically like the people in charge just ran off with everyone's bread. Do you know what I mean? Like they saw too much money, ran off with everyone's bread, and they didn't actually fulfill contracts on their end, even though we had all the facilities to do it. Do you know what I mean? So I had no knowledge of this because I was a worker. You know what I mean? I was a very good worker. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, anything I do, I put 150% into it. So I was working so hard that people thought that I was even a decision maker. Do you know what I mean? But I wasn't, bro. I was a worker. I was contracted. Do you get it? And yeah. So straight after that, that's when I could confidently say that, bro, man became depressed, bro. Do you know what I mean? Because it was morning granddad, then the whole company like coming down happened. Then straight after that, obviously we're dealing in property, so people are putting like their life savings into it and stuff like that, right? Um, Straight after that, man starts getting like death threats and that, bro. Like real life, bro. Like death threats, threats of oh yo, like man's gonna find you and do this and do that and do. I'm bearing in mind, guys, like how can I say this? I grew up in ends, bro. So I've seen. I'm not saying I've done anything in it, but I've seen some crazy stuff in it. Like I've seen it with my own eyes. You get what I'm saying? So when people would threaten or this and that, I'm not. I'd. You can't threaten me. Do you get what I'm saying? But in this case, it wasn't that I was scared because again, you can't threaten man. Do you get what I'm saying? But I felt bad as hell, bro. Like I felt like hell, bro. I was like, I believed in I believed in the facade. Like I believed in something so much and was working so hard and pouring my life into this and sacrificed time with family and this and that because I thought that it was actually a golden ticket to help not only obviously myself financially etc. but more importantly is helping the people that were that are investing into it and it's also helping the people that were providing homes to it and stuff like that. It's a whole bro. That thing it bro it got me still. It got me. So I remember, yeah, man, facing death threats. And in that time as well, me facing death threats, everyone that, because with me as well, I'm one person that I pour into people. Do you know what I mean? Like if I see someone, I will make sure, and I see a talent in them or whatever. I'm the type of person, well, I used to be anyways, where I'd push them, bro. I'll be like, yo, you have this talent keep on going. I'll be motivating everyone every single day. Like people that have had me on Snap and IG, etc. They know like man will be motivating and being positive and just being that guy and a pillar for people. Like people will tell me even till this day, like, bro, like I'm inspired by what you do and bro, you're doing great things, you're doing a lot. Do you know what I mean? So I was that type of person in it. So even though I'd given that much impact to people, for some reason, well, it's not for some reason, it's human nature. That's what I've come to not understand. But back then I was thinking, bro, like no one has my back here, bro. Like man's actually cooked. Man's cooked. Like no one has my back, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know because the another thing with me, like when I went to therapy, is that I realized that I'm a high functioning depressive or whatever they call it. So it basically means that you can be going through depression or anxiety, but you'll still operate like normal, in it. That's just me. So man was bro, I was depressed, bro, like on everything. And no, there was no one to talk to, no one to help. Like, because how can you explain it, bro? How can you explain it? How can and even if you explain it, people are just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, bro." Like that, what that, bro? It's dark. You feel me? So man's going through this, man's facing all these threats, um, and then it gets to a point where I'm just like, "Yo, like man wants to just end it all." Do you get what I'm saying? But luckily, I think it was around like Christmas time, so I had spent some time with obviously my bro, and I saw like my the little kids and stuff like that, and just seeing them play and stuff like that. For some reason, it gave me hope. I don't know why, bro. Why is that? It feels like some anime episode, bro. You know what I mean? Like where you're going through something and you just see like a butterfly just flying or something. Like that's what I kind of felt. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, bro, it gave me some sort of hope and just like, you know what, I gotta keep on going because by the time these guys are older, they gotta see me in a position where it's like, yo, like that's their uncle, yeah, I really like kind of vibe. So that happened, but yeah, man, I was going through mental gymnastics, bro, everything. Like it was dark, you know what I mean? And in this moment, I'm also, bro, like life doesn't stop for no one. You get, especially as a man as well. So you still have to pay bills and you still have to do this and do that, and it's mind game. So man, still having to figure out in real time, thinking, yo, can I go back into property? Technically speaking, I can, but I just feel I just feel so guilty. I don't think I can go back into property. I don't feel as if that I can like help investors and this and that. And I was so guilty. Um, but I was in property a bit, still doing my thing, still making a bit of cash here and there. Um, and then I went into coaching for a bit as well, and I helped some of the students that I was coaching because obviously I'd done my thing, bro. Like one thing about me is that if I, like I said, if I commit to something, I'm 150% in, bro. Do you know what I mean? So I become just through hard work, I become one of the best in that skill if I'm actually passionate about it. So I'd learned and I was like, you know what, let me just teach it and show people the way kind of vibe. So helped other people in the skill set and they went on to do their thing. Um Again, the boy the my brother that mentored me, he actually brought me back into his academy to help students as well. So he helped me as well. And just being around that the whole team as well, like it really helped, bro. You know what I mean? Being around people that are going and getting it and this and that, like helped me to an extent. Um Even when it came to, for example, I'm Christian in it. I'm not the most perfect Christian, no one is. But even when it came to like um God and stuff like that, like I have unlimited faith, but at the same time I was really questioning like God, like how can you do this, bro? Like how can you put me in this type of predicament? How? I felt so let down. Do you know what I mean? And this is just me being transparent. Do you get it? So in regards to that, yeah, man, it was dark. It was very, very dark. Very, very dark. I don't even know. It's like, you know, when you feel so down that you don't know whether you even need to pray or you need to do this or you need to do that. It's dark, man. It's dark. So, yeah, man, I would say for the past year, I was like, I felt like, you know, like, imagine you're just in a room of darkness, bro. Do you know what I mean? And then you're just having to walk and just navigate and navigate and navigate. And again, thank God, even though like, I was kind of mad at him, like he just kept on showing me, okay, go this way, then do this, then do that, then do this, then do that. And it got to a point where obviously we buried granddad, may his soul rest in peace. Came back and that trip as well it was amazing. I remember I said to Mumsy first time and I said to Pops as well that yo, like this is what happened. Man lost it all. This is how much I was doing. I was making. Cause my biggest thing is to retire my parents. You know what I mean? I want to do that. So when they were asking me like, oh, why, what's going on? You know how parents are, man. Damn, man. They are really like gotta love them, but they're annoying at the same time. So asked me bare questions like, yo, like what going, and I remember I just broke it down to my parents and just like I remember my mum is she was like, eh? Like you said imagine saying that to a Nigerian mum, bro. She was like, eh, you say what? Broski, like she was broski, it was dark. Do you get it? So yeah, man. But after that trip, it was cool. I was like, okay, whatever. Let me come back and just I've cleared my head a bit, you know what I mean? So let's get back into it. So came back, and one of the things I just thought to myself was like, you know what, I need to get back into music. Like it just kept on something just kept on pulling me back into music, you know what I mean? Then I was like, you know what, cool, let's run the play. So I remember Figzo had um I think we've done two tapes this year. So we had MBK with Treezo and we completed that. We then moved on to the next tape, which just came out like last Friday. Completed that. And yeah, like around the MBK time, that was around the time that I was like, you know what, let me get back into it. and do my thing. So I went back to my old studio, started working with clients again, started obviously doubling down on figs, um, and all sorts of things. Because bearing in mind, after the whole property thing, and me doubling down property, everyone, like I said, all the people that I thought I could rely on and be around and actually understand what I was going through at the time, they didn't understand. Do you know what I mean? So some people remove man, some people stop talking, some people distance, and you know how things are. You know what I mean? When you're at the top, everyone's with you. When you're at the bottom, no one's really there besides God. Do you know what I'm saying? So when I got back into music, I was like, you know what? I have crazy experience in music. I also have a story and crazy experience in things like property and in the, you could say, semi-corporate, well, it's corporate world. So I understand about sales, I understand about funnels, how to run ads, how to close clients on a high ticket base. Like there's so many skill sets man learn. You feel me? And I was like, you know what? My skill set has always been, my unique advantage has always been music, but my skill set has always been two things, like seeing the best in people and coaching and manifesting that and watering and bringing it out into fruition. So it's like almost being like a kind of a coach. And number two, I would also say that I'm a student that can learn very very quickly to a point of executing and teaching as well. So it ties into the coaching thing. So when it comes to music, I can master that. When it comes into property and high ticket sales, funnels, digital marketing, etc., I can master it. So I have a unique skill set and a skill stack, you could say. So I was like, you know what, let me come back into music and see how I can impact, you could say, the scene, man. So we're building, me and Figs was building. Um, I said to myself, you know what, I need to build my personal brand as well. Part of why I didn't build it before initially was because I just didn't like being in front of the camera. I'm pretty sure you guys can tell by now that you got me looking up and there because I don't like doing this. I don't like talking, just in general. But then the second time around was because like you just like, you know what I mean? I still feeling depressed and guilty and this and that. So even when I was doing one or two things on social media and trying in real life, like to try this business model and try this business model, and don't get it twisted. Anything I try, I like thank God I'm somehow successful in it, but it wasn't resonating, man. I was like, I can't do property times two. Do you know what I mean? Let me go back to something that I know I love and so I got back into music. And this time around, it just me building a personal brand where you guys understand that in music, I'm a boss. Um, but outside of that, I can also kind of broaden your horizon and actually show you that look, there's possibilities here, and you can do this and you can do that kind of vibe. So that's basically the story of me prior to making the money, while I made the money, and then me losing it, and where I'm at right now. And yeah, man, I wanna commit to basically at least for next month, just posting daily, whilst I'm doing the reactions and stuff like that, but posting daily on this channel just to kind of just, yeah, man, show people who I am, build a personal brand, build a community that understand me for me as well. And yeah, I'd say everyone makes mistakes. All I can really say is all about what you do from there, and the type of man you become from it as well. Some people might watch this video and be like, "Oh no, it's all your fault." Some people might watch this video and be like, bro, we've been there," or "I can only imagine what it feels like," and feel sympathy, etc. But all I can really do is just, again, just pray I'm on the right standing with the Most High, and just make sure that every single decision I make going forward, not saying I'm not going to make mistakes again, but every single decision I make going forward impact someone in a positive way, you know, and just share gain. You know what I mean? So that's what I start. That's what I'm doing right now. Like I help people in terms of music. I also coach entertainers and show them different ways of how to actually build businesses and build cash flow assets and stuff like that, and just make money and sustain money, because that's something that is really lacking within the community. And there's no, like, same way I made it and I lost it, the biggest reason, or one of the reasons behind me losing it, is because I had cash flow issues. Like when I was making the money, I didn't know where to put it. So I bought properties rather than, like, for example, going into like Airbnbs to maximize the cash flow. Or do you know what I mean? There's so many different mistakes that we make, especially because we're the first generation to actually touch this type of piece. Do you know what I mean? So I've just been helping and doing what I can, helping people build online businesses and stuff like that. And yeah, man, some of my clients there, they're chopping, so I'm happy for that. And yeah, just the next phase is just me just offering value and just building right in front of you guys. So I might regret uploading this, in 10 years, I might look back at this and be like, we did, kind of like, but it's part of the game, innit? We all go through things. And I doubt you made it to the end of the video, but if you made it to the end of the video, because I can see it's 40 minutes long, bloody hell. I was trying to make this like 10. Um, but yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, all I can say is just keep on going, man. But in tough times right now, you may think that money's gonna solve all your problems, but it doesn't. It just solves money problems. So I'll definitely say like try to get right with the Most High. Try to also chase the bag is important, but outside that, also educate yourself on how to sustain it. And that's what I'm gonna spend a lot of time on this channel basically doing. Whilst I'm reacting, we all like the controversy and we all like, oh, this happened with this artist and that and this. Do you know what I mean? That's just the name of the game. We live in a negative world, so sometimes I'm gonna have to cover those type of topics. But hopefully, you guys can see a bit deeper than that, and can see like, yo, like this, and do you know what I mean? So that's what it is. But other than that, my people, them, if you like the video, like it. I wouldn't say share it with a friend, but if it helped you somehow, share it with a friend. Comment down below if this has happened to you or what you think or anything like that, and also subscribe. Right now, I believe we're just over like 100 subscribers. Um, yeah, man. By the end of the year, I'm trying to get to at least 1K though, man. I got you. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna double down. It's gonna be big. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my people, that's me being honest. That's me being transparent. It's a bit uncomfortable, but hopefully you can see it and appreciate it for what it is. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.